are listening to A Scary State, and this week we're talking about Nevada, or Nevada. So, Lauren,
Yes, Kenzie.
let's get scary, or scary.
So how are you?
I'm great. Happy Passover to all who celebrate.
Yeah, so tell me about your Passover.
Yes, I went up to New Jersey to see my aunt's family, and we did Seder.
Okay, explain.
Seder is like the prayer and ritual. I feel like that's an odd word to say given how we typically talk about rituals.
Yeah.
But you go through, like you have, there's specific types of food. And so it talks about like when the Jews were in Egypt and we were enslaved and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were supposed to leave Egypt. This is when we were leaving Egypt. Just read the story yesterday. They mentioned Egypt a lot. So I think
So something happened in Egypt.
we were leaving Egypt. I think this is when Moses parted the Red Sea.
Oh.
Because I saw that come up a couple times.
Was this the thing with the blood on the doors?
Mhm, and
Okay.
the angel had passed over
Yeah.
those families that did that.
And so what do you eat?
So during the, like, I guess you could say prayer part,
Mhm.
because we're like essentially doing prayers. And there are bitter herbs that you're supposed to eat with matzah.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it's matzah is because I think they didn't have time for it to like rise like normal bread or something like that. Or maybe they didn't have wheat. Something along those lines. And then you usually have wine. And there's like different parts of it. I usually just follow along with what people are doing around me. And the one in my family who kind of like leads it all, he's really good about telling people what page to go to and where they are and whether or not we're going to do it in English first and then in Hebrew. I obviously don't do the Hebrew part because I don't know Hebrew.
Right.
And then there is parts with like a potato, an egg, and like radish. And I think, and I know, they all symbolize something.
Okay.
And so kind of after the prayer, like you have like the Seder meal, which is we had like hard-boiled eggs, some potato.
Oh.
You have the matzah, and then like you eat. And so we start off with matzo ball soup and gefilte fish. I didn't have the fish. I just had the matzo ball soup, which I freaking love. My favorite. And then after that, we had salmon, brisket. Usually it's like roast beef, brisket, something like that.
Yeah.
Veggies, some sort of salad kind of thing. And the best mashed potatoes I have ever fucking had. Oh my God. So good. Amazing. So you eat dinner, you kind of have dessert, and then you close out the Seder with like the closing out prayer part.
Okay.
And that part's just drinking wine.
I can get behind that.
So we each had to read a little blurb.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would count how many people were ahead of me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like you had to do in school when you were going to like be reading based on where you were sitting.
Yeah.
Yep. To make sure you know what you're saying.
And so it was fun. It was good to see family.
Yeah.
So we did some of the traditional things with like the prayers and the songs and stuff, but it's really fun because if anything, Jews got a beat because a lot of the songs have a good rhythm to it. And so we would start like pounding on the table, like giving it a beat. There's like a couple of fun songs in there that are just like, ooh, yeah, shimmy. And so, yeah, and I'm not sure why we do this, but my aunt's dad, this was like, I guess, a tradition with like their family. I just started going to their Seder. This is my second time going, just scheduling wise. It finally worked out that I could go again. So they've obviously had traditions for many years now.
Yeah.
And
what a tradition is, yeah.
Right. And one of them, his name was Jack. We called him Grandpa Jack. He passed, but he would always close out the Seder with singing God Bless America.
Aw.
So we did that.
Oh.
And I was like, I know the words to.
I got this one.
I got this one. So it was very lovely. I was smart and I ate a little bit beforehand because it does take like a few minutes to get to like the meal. And I learned last time not to go in hungry.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Glad you had a good time.
It was fun. It was nice.
We hope everyone else who celebrated had a good time too.
Yeah. I don't know what the official Hebrew way of saying happy Passover.
Yeah, I wanted to say, like, because I didn't know if it was like a happy Passover for like what the reason was. So when I said it to you yesterday, I was like, I think it's happy Passover.
It's happy Passover. It's like our Easter.
Okay.
It's because it's like, yes, the concept is like, oh, the angel of death passing over, but like it's also like us getting out of Egypt and not being like enslaved anymore.
Oh, okay. So it is happy.
It's a good thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I knew what what that part was. I was like, do you want me to say happy? Because that sounds not happy.
Yeah. It's, we're finally getting to Jerusalem, Israel, all those places.
Nice.
Out of Egypt.
Good. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I got a new phone.
Yes. How did that work?
Okay. So let me tell you the story. Being the good wife I am, Joe was working late one night, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make us like this pasta dish that I found. It was Cajun chicken pasta.
Ooh.
Right? Sounds delicious. And usually, if I'm making pasta, I'm just going to dump the pasta into the bowl.
Right.
But this had a certain amount of liquid, so I wanted to use a certain amount of pasta.
Okay.
Because if I used too much pasta, it would have taken up all the liquid and it wouldn't have cooked all the way.
Right.
So I wanted to measure out the right amount of pasta.
Okay.
So I have a huge 4-cup measuring glass, like measuring cup thing.
Yeah.
And I needed 2 cups of pasta. So I put them in there. So this thing is like heavy. I had my phone right next to me because I was looking at the recipe.
Sure.
When I went to go lift the thing up, it slipped out of my hand and fell straight on my phone.
Did it break?
No, the cup didn't break.
That's crazy.
My phone did.
Yeah.
Because I heard the crack and I was like, oh no, the cup broke. No. My phone broke. It had like the indent of the little curl of the cup.
Oh, geez.
And then it just spidered down the whole screen. And I was like, no. And I didn't think it was a big deal because I was like, I can change the screen. Like, that's not a big deal. That'll be like $100 maybe. Joe and I have insurance on the phone. So I was like, that's not a big deal.
Right.
Well, then that night, I finished up reading one of our Harry Potter books and I closed the book and I was going to send a Snapchat to my friend to say, look, I finished the book. My screen was black. So my phone literally could not take pictures. Like it couldn't even take a picture of a black screen. It was nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no. So Joe was on the phone for like an hour and a half talking to Verizon with like, we have insurance. No, you don't. Yes, I do. What am I paying this money for if I don't have it? Figured out. We do, in fact, have it. So they sent someone to our house and they were like, oh, they'll be there between 7 and 9 p.m. They get there at 9 p.m.
Well.
The guy was very, very nice, but I was like, freaking 9
So it was
p.m.
through Verizon, not Apple.
Yeah. It was through Verizon, whoever they use. And so some guy comes over. We're like going through the phone stuff. He's helping me transfer everything over. Everything transfers were great. And then at the top, it still says SOS. And he's like, oh, the service didn't transfer. And I was like, so we had to call Verizon because they have like a 24/7 help center. So we called them and we were on the phone forever. And then we finally got it all fixed. So everything's finally good. He left at like 10:15.
Damn.
I go to bed early.
Yeah, I know.
I wake up early.
Yeah.
So I was very tired on Friday.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a Geek Squad person coming here and helping you.
Which I was like, that's kind of interesting that they do house calls.
Yeah.
But it was nice. I mean, so I got the new phone. It's probably a refurbished phone in all honesty. But it works. So, and I could take pictures.
That's important.
Because the guy, when he was looking at the phone, he was like, because I took my case off and he goes, do you have a screen protector on here? I said, yeah. He goes, did you remove the screen protector to see if the screen is cracked underneath? I said, oh, no, see, if that were just the issue, sure, I would have done that. And I was like, the camera's broken. He goes, oh, okay. It's like, I'm not stupid. We would have gone this route if I could just fix the screen.
Right.
But no, it was like, because when you looked at the cameras, like where the bowl fell was right on top of the cameras, like just on the other side of it. And if you looked at the cameras, they weren't cracked or anything. It was like something internal had just, there was no fixing it.
Yeah. Doesn't sound like it.
Nope. So I have a new phone.
Well.
And I'm very scared.
Oh, about where you place it?
Or like if I'm going to drop anything on it. Because I don't have a screen protector on it right now because I just got it.
Yeah.
Because like I was filling up a flower vase today. And I was like moving the vase. And I was like, where's the phone? And it was like way over there. And I said, okay.
New fear unlocked.
Yep. Because like I thought that the the cup broke. I was like, it was the cup that broke. It had to have been the cup that shattered. No.
I mean, you said it holds 4 cups, and
Mhm.
it's like one of those glass measuring
Yeah.
cups. Yeah, it's gonna break the phone.
It's a heavy thing. Because I heard the crack and I was like, oh shit, the cup broke. No,
No.
it's my phone.
Well, it got fixed quickly, which is nice.
Yeah, literally the next day. And
Yeah.
Joe was like, you better love me. I was like, why? He's like, I was on the phone with them for an hour and a half. I said, see, because I couldn't be. Because I can't have my phone at work.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do it anyway.
No, I wouldn't.
Because you're you. Not because you have work.
I could have done it. But also all the stuff is under him, so I would have been calling him anyways multiple times. It just makes more sense. And at one point they're like, oh, we can just like remote get into it. Can you just like turn it off and save my find my friends or whatever? And he was like, no, it's my wife's phone. She doesn't have it. Please help me figure this out. But we got it. We're good.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It really does. In these situations when I can't have my phone, that's what we have to do.
Yeah. It's good.
Yeah. So we're good. But now I'm just in the annoying part of like, it has
Signing
to
back
reconnect
in.
to everything and signing back into everything.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it all transferred over because the cloud.
Yeah.
But
we love a cloud.
we do, actually.
Yeah.
I had to buy, this was like a couple months ago when I got my first, like when we did the upgrade the first time, I had to buy cloud storage. Yep. Because it was like, you don't have it. And it was like, I don't need it. And then I lost everything when I had to restart my phone. So I said, we're not doing that again.
Yep. They like to teach you things the hard way.
Uh-huh.
So
I'm going to have to bump it up soon, I'm sure.
Yep. Crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get into this state?
Yeah.
Nevada, how are we saying it?
However you want.
Nevada.
I say Nevada.
If we each say it a different way,
Then
one of
we
us will
cover
be
our
right
bases.
and we'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay.
They can only give one of us shit.
Before the glitz of Las Vegas or the neon buzz of Reno, Nevada. How am I saying it? You're saying Nevada?
That doesn't matter.
Okay.
Say it however you feel comfortable.
But now I'm second guessing
You
it.
said Nevada. You said Nevada. I say Nevada, you say Nevada.
Okay.
Potato.
Nevada had a dark and often overlooked history when it came to racial segregation. In the mid-20th century, Las Vegas was dubbed the Mississippi of the West due to its deeply entrenched racism and segregation laws. Black entertainers like Sammy Davis Jr. could perform on the Strip but weren't allowed to stay in the hotels where they worked.
That's crazy.
West Las Vegas became an unofficial black district, and it wasn't until the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and significant activism that change began. But scars remain. The Moulin Rouge Hotel, which briefly broke color barriers in 1955, became a symbol of progress halted too soon. Though the lights have dimmed on much of that era, its shadow still lingers beyond the bright facade. After making history as the first desegregated hotel and casino in Las Vegas...
I was about to tell you that fact, and then I read ahead, and I'm glad I covered it.
The Moulin Rouge burned down in a suspicious fire in 2003. It was just one of the many fires and setbacks for the iconic site, which had been shuttered for decades and became a symbol of how the Black community in West Las Vegas was systematically left behind during the city's rapid development. The fire marked the final blow to any hope of restoration, and many believe corruption and intentional neglect played a part in its demise. The site remains empty, a burnt-out shell of progress unfulfilled. Is it still empty?
Yeah, so there were it became registered as a National Historic Site.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a couple of fires, one in the 80s, one in the 90s, 2003, that really did some damage. And I want to say, I feel like it's a 2018 that they just demolished it officially.
Oh.
Just because of the amount of damage.
Yeah.
Because the website I was looking at it seemed like it was a website that was kind of pushing for advocacy for that to not happen. There's another hotel that was similar and has similar roots
Mm-hmm.
and history behind it, that they're okay, we have this one left, it's registered for National Historic Place, let's try to keep it preserved. Not many people know about this history.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, so this one, it had been closed for a while, and then there was fires and things like that, and so I think they officially demolished it in 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
Located north of Lovelock, Nevada, This unassuming cave holds one of the eeriest tales tied to ancient Native American folklore. According to the Paiute people, a race of red-haired giants called the Sitika once roamed the area. These giants were said to be cannibals who waged war against local tribes. Eventually, the Paiute forced them into Lovelock Cave and set it ablaze, killing them all. Fast forward to the early 1900s, miners uncovered thousands of artifacts and remains in the cave, including abnormally large bones. While most archaeologists attribute the bones to normal-sized humans and dismiss the legend as myth, conspiracy theorists and cryptid hunters argue otherwise. The truth lost in the dust of the Great Basin.
So I saw one place that said that, like, they were probably like 6'2", which at the time
would have been really tall.
Would have been like crazy tall. But not,
nowadays.
Right. Not like what we would consider like giants in terms of like Hagrid.
Right.
Like, he's half a giant.
Exactly.
So.
I love how you know this. That makes me so happy. The Hoover Dam is one of America's greatest engineering marvels, but also the center of one chilling legend. Constructed during the Great Depression, the dam cost over 100 lives. Rumors began to swirl that some workers, victims of accidents or falls, were entombed within the concrete structure itself. The truth is a bit less dramatic. While many did die from heat stroke, explosions, or falls, there is no credible evidence that bodies were intentionally buried in the dam's walls. Still, the myth persists, and the dam continues to draw not only engineers and tourists, but ghost hunters too. I have heard about the bodies in the dam.
Yeah, all the places I read said that, like, they wouldn't have done that because...
Like, entombed them?
Yeah. Like, they would have, if something like that happened, they would have made sure that didn't happen. Like, they weren't still there because we as humans are biodegradable.
Right.
Things like that. It could actually really mess up the structure.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would figure that's what could happen.
But it noted that there is a story from Montana and a dam there that does have bodies in it.
Ooh.
So I'll put that in the state facts when we get to Montana, which is a couple episodes from now.
Ooh, okay. So. Yeah, I realized we were...
Wait a minute. Happy 200th episode.
Oh my God, how did we not say this before? I was thinking the same thing. I was like, don't forget to talk about it. This is our 200th episode.
Woohoo!
Look at us.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. So happy 200.
Happy 200th episode.
Ugh. It's like us to forget.
Yeah.
What's new? Oh, nothing. Did Passover. Oh, got a new phone.
Okay, let's get started.
200th episode.
200 episode.
Oh.
Woohoo.
And you've been here for well over half of them by this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I didn't love Nora so much, I would say that we should re-record the episodes so that it's me that's on them.
But we love her, so she'll always be part of it.
Exactly.
All right, so back to our notes now that we got that big announcement out of the way. When gold and silver were discovered in Nevada, towns sprung up overnight. But just as quickly as they boomed, they busted. Now Nevada has over 600 ghost towns, more than any other state. Places like Rhyolite, Goldfield, and Belmont once buzzed with saloons, brothels, and wild lawlessness. Today, they're skeletal remains of a forgotten age, crumbling facades, windblown relics, and rumors of lingering spirits. In Rhyolite, people claim to see shadowy figures wandering the ruins, while in Goldfield, the haunted Goldfield Hotel is infamous for its poltergeist activity and chilling EVPs captured by ghost hunters. Did we cover the Goldfield Hotel?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it sounds familiar to one of the ones we've covered.
Because if we did cover something, then I'll put it the episode.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nevada was a true frontier state where outlaws, miners, and vigilantes ruled the day. Stories abound of shootouts in Virginia City saloons. We talked about Virginia City.
Yes.
And hangings in town squares. Virginia City itself was home to Mark Twain for a short time, and it was in the chaotic mining town where Twain first honed his writing chops while reporting on the ruckus behavior of gold-seeking fortune hunters. Meanwhile, in Elko County, range wars erupted over cattle and land rights. Gunfighters, drifters, and crooked lawmen added to the danger. One infamous figure was the outlaw Diamondback Jack Davis.
Diamondfield
Jack
Not
Davis.
A snake.
It could be a really scary name. Would you rather be called a Diamondfield or Diamondback? That's cool.
Diamondback sounds like it should be derogatory.
It does, but it's not.
I know, because I know it's the name of a snake, but it doesn't sound right.
Okay, then maybe Diamondfield's better. But anywho, he narrowly escaped execution for murder, only to later become a mine promoter who...
Notice how I'm just letting you make the mistakes and not making fun. And just
I don't make fun of you when you make mistakes. Just when you say like Illinois or like Illinois. Okay. Become a mind promoter and weirdly a somewhat respected figure. Nevada's wild past is littered with baroom.
barroom. So glad I'm editing the steak back this week.
Barroom brawls, unsolved murders, and the rise and fall of vigilante justice. See, here's the thing. I was doing too well. I was doing too well for too long that the universe was like, nah. You're getting a little too cocky. We're going to mess you up.
You literally messed up the sentence right before this one, so I don't know what you're talking about.
No, before that little paragraph.
Oh, yeah, you were doing great.
Other two, I was doing great. I was like, man, she's not going to have to edit any of this. I spoke too soon.
I just liked making fun for me.
From 1951 to 1992, Nevada's desert became ground zero for nuclear testing at the Nevada test site, about 65 miles northwest of Las Vegas. Tourists once gathered on rooftops to watch mushroom clouds light up the sky, completely unaware of the long-term dangers. Fallout from these tests exposed workers, downwind communities, and even soldiers to radiation, leading to increased cancer rates, environmental contamination, and widespread controversy. Survivors became known as downwinders, and their push for recognition exposed the government's willingness to risk civilian lives for Cold War dominance.
In our last Nevada episode, part of when I was talking about like the curse of that movie,
yeah.
Part of the conspiracy theory is because that town is part of the downwinders,
right?
That had something to do with it.
Yes, I remember that because didn't a lot of them get cancer while working on the movie?
Yeah. And then also like a lot of people in town too were sick. So,
oof.
Yeah.
In the early 1930s, the rising waters of Lake Mead, formed with the creation of Hoover Dam, swallowed the Mormon settlement of St. Thomas. Residents had to flee as the town slowly flooded, leaving behind homes, schools, and a cemetery. Decades later, droughts have caused water levels to drop, and the ghostly remains of St. Thomas have resurfaced. Visitors say the area feels eerily silent, as though the town is still holding its breath beneath the desert sun. Creepy.
Yes.
Beneath the glamour of Las Vegas lies a network of storm drain tunnels stretching over 600 miles. These tunnels are home to hundreds of unhoused individuals, some of whom have lived there for years. The tunnel system has its own internal community, complete with rules, makeshift homes, and unfortunately, crime and tragedy. Some local and urban explorers report seeing unsettling graffiti, evidence of cult-like activity, and even finding bodies. It's a tragic contrast to the city of excess above. Wild.
Right.
They also say there's like those tunnel cities in New York as well.
Yeah, there's supposed to be tunnels under New York. I mean, outside of the subway.
Yeah, well, yeah. They don't move every time a train comes.
Right. Yeah. Well, I would rather live in a tunnel than in the Nevada desert, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I talk about some of the deserts in my episode.
Mm.
And yeah, they're part of the desert spans over like 4 or 5 states. And part of it that's in California is Death Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So you're like in the Death Valley adjacent desert.
Also, fun fact I read while I was doing this, that Nevada is home to over 600 ghost towns.
Mm-hmm.
And this website said that there are more ghost towns than there are live towns with living people in it.
Weird.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah.
I get it, though.
And I saw someone too, like, there was a picture of some sort of housing community in Nevada, and it stops at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just desert.
That's weird.
That's what people were saying.
Would you want to be on that end house?
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't mind.
Because then you could be like, there's a desert worth of parking if you come visit.
When I am walking around my neighborhood, I'm always like looking at the different apartment buildings, seeing which one I would want to live in, where my balcony has not necessarily a good view, but a space where no one can fucking see me.
Yes.
And there's one building on the opposite side of where I am that faces like this open park. And there's like a line of trees with houses on the other side, but like you can't really see them. And the way it faces, I'm like, maybe someone from the building across could kind of see you. But if you angle yourself right.
Oh, see, beautiful.
And it's there's no one else there. You don't see other people.
Yep, that's what I would want.
Right now, my view is now a playground.
Oh.
I know. I was okay with the dog park.
Oh, yeah, the dog park's cute.
I was not okay with the playground.
I wouldn't be okay with the playground either because all you get to hear are the screams of children.
I know.
And you get enough of that at work.
Uh-huh. Exactly. And I'll have just gotten away from it, and then someone will start, and it'll still be there,
Mm-hmm.
haunting my dreams.
You'll like hear it in the middle of the night, be like, oh my God.
If I hear a child scream in the middle of the night, I'm saying, oh my God, for another reason.
But will it be a child screaming in the middle of the night, or will it just be your subconscious playing screams in the middle of the night?
It might just be me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I woke up last night. It was like 1:30 in the morning. And I woke up to something like thumping. And I looked at Joe and I was like, there was a noise. He didn't wake up. I just got up. And I was like half awake, half asleep. And I like walked downstairs and I see Roy standing looking at like the golf set because Joe and Chris played golf the other day, this morning. And I can't remember if they had the golf thing up or if it fell and that was the thump I heard because Roy was staring at it like shaking.
Oh, it probably scared him.
Oh, you poor baby.
Golf clubs are bad.
I know. Yeah, but it was creepy. I was like, you don't ever want to hear a thump at 1:30 in the morning.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not ideal.
But I was so brave. I got up, didn't even wake Joe up, and I just went to go investigate.
See, every time I see that, I'm just like, no.
What? No, don't go investigate?
Never.
I had to.
No, you don't. Wait for them to come to you. You want to
This
kill
way
me?
I could get the jump on them. Thankfully, it was just a golf club. Like,
they don't really have the jump on you if you're sitting up in bed waiting for them.
Right. Wait, you said they don't have the jump on you?
Right.
Yeah, they do. Because then you're in a very vulnerable position of just sitting in bed.
But I mean, like, if you hear something.
Oh, yeah.
Like, my door will be closed, but I don't even close it all the way. Once I close my door, I try not to leave again because I'm terrified I'm going to open it and someone's going to be standing on the other side.
Totally rational fear, though.
Yeah. But if I hear something, I'll look at my door and just wait until someone opens it. I'm like, I'm not going out there to check.
But see, that's more creepy too with you. Like, at least if I hear a noise, I can blame it on Roy. I can blame it on Chris, who was staying over. Like, I can blame it on things.
Yep.
But if I'm alone, you can't blame it on things.
My first instinct is to think dog.
Right.
And then I remember I don't have one. Usually it's like the dishwasher.
Oh, yeah. Our dishwasher
like
does that too.
Yeah.
Except the other day I was here alone and I was just about to get into the shower. Joe wasn't home yet. Roy was just like bopping around how he does.
That's what alone means.
Thank you. And I heard a noise and I was like, what was that? And I like looked all around, didn't find anything. 2 hours later, I found out that it was our ice dispenser.
Yeah.
That dispensed like some ice. It freaked me out because I was like, there should not be anything thumping in this house.
Yes, absolutely. Houses make too many noises.
Yeah, they do. All right, Kenzie. Of course, naturally, technical difficulties on the 200th episode.
Yeah, but this one was scary.
This one was scary.
Yeah.
But I think we're good. So what tale do you have for us today?
Continuing the story from last week, this is part 2 of the Great Basin Murder episodes.
I just love how we have a part 1, a part 2, and we're going to have a part 3.
Yeah. We started our journey in Wyoming, and now we're making our way through Nevada, and then next week will be Utah.
Yep.
Each episode focuses on victims found in each of these states. I'll kick things off with a quick recap, then dive into some new information I came across that ties back to last week's episode.
Okay.
I'll also walk you through a timeline of all the victims. And if you haven't guessed it already, we're going to be focusing on the victims that were found in Nevada and one in Idaho because I didn't know where to put her.
Okay.
And she just worked there. Reminder,
Wait, and where was that one? In Idaho?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Because for some reason in my brain, you said Utah, which I know you didn't, but I was like, we would just put her in the Utah episode. I don't know. Go on.
Reminder, there is a trigger warning that this story contains sensitive topics such as sexual assault and rape, so please consider before listening. Last week, we began our deep dive into the chilling series of unsolved killings known as the Great Basin Murders, a string of cases that haunted the highways and back roads of American West from the early 80s through the late 90s. We focused on the state of Wyoming, where the story seems to have started. We began with Janelle Lee Johnson, a 23-year-old woman whose journey to Denver in 1983 ended in tragedy. Her body was discovered in a shallow grave near Shoshone, Wyoming. She had been sexually assaulted and strangled, and despite early forensic efforts, crucial evidence was lost due to a refrigeration malfunction.
Mm-hmm.
Janelle's murder is believed to be the first in a possible pattern.
Right. Okay.
We also explored the haunting case of Lisa Marie Kimmel, better known by her personalized license plate, Little Miss.
Mm-hmm.
She vanished in 1989 during a road trip through Wyoming, and her body was found a week later. Years passed before a DNA match pointed to a man named Dale Wayne Eaton, who was eventually convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Some speculate Eaton may be connected to other Great Basin cases, including Janelle's. Then came Better Creek Betty, an unidentified woman found off of I-80 in 1992. She had been beaten, raped, and murdered. Despite detailed forensic analysis and composite sketches, she remains nameless. But her DNA would later link her death to a man named Clark Perry Baldwin, a truck driver arrested decades later and believed to be connected to multiple killings, including another Jane Doe found in Sheridan County, Wyoming. Throughout the episode, we examined the growing suspicions that these weren't isolated incidences. Young women, often traveling alone, were found dumped near highways and remote areas. Many had been sexually assaulted, murdered, and left without identification. Investigators began to suspect a serial predator, or possibly multiple. I combined multiple and possibly. While the name Great Basin Murders was never official, it became a way to describe a disturbing pattern across Wyoming, Utah, Nevada, and Idaho. And even now, in 2025, many of these women remain nameless and their cases unsolved. So I did find a little bit more details about some of the women that we talked about last week, which I'll go over. And then I'm just going to go through a timeline. So I'm going to name the victim, the year, and where they're found.
Okay.
And then we'll go into the two we're talking about today, and we'll go from there. Okay. So for Janelle Johnson, she was the first one, 1983 in Wyoming. Some of the new things that I stumbled across was when she was coming back from Denver. She was about 5 hours away, and she had a shift at a bowling alley that she'd worked at since she was 14.
Okay.
She was last seen at a truck stop. Her body had been buried and was face down, in a shallow grave.
Actually, interesting. I don't think I've ever thought of the positions when people are found.
Well, the reason why is because there are some that they seem purposefully posed. So that's why I touch on how they are positioned.
Interesting. Okay.
But she was not considered posed.
Yeah.
She didn't have any jewelry or clothing. She didn't have any personal possessions at all.
Mm-hmm.
She did have ligature marks on her neck, and she also had bite marks, which I did not touch on the last episode. So she had bite marks.
Did they record the bite marks? Okay, sorry.
I forget where the bite mark was, but it did show that there was some missing teeth on one side of the person's jaw. The medical examiner testified she died from strangulation by a rope or a belt, based on the ligature marks. And there was also, she had hitched a ride from Denver to, I think, Riverton, maybe, or there was somewhere that she hitched a ride to, and that truck driver talked to authorities.
Oh, okay.
And he was able to because he talked to them, they were kind of able to get a little bit better of a timeline. And the information led authorities to a man with missing teeth. And his bite impression was sent to a lab in Texas to be compared with the bite marks on Johnson's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
They did confirm a match, but the match wasn't enough evidence to make an arrest. I don't think bite marks are considered.
But how?
Because I think it's an imperfect science. Yeah.
That seems pretty set.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed like
if you don't have, and I know this probably doesn't sound good, but if you don't have a match, then I'd be like, yeah, that's not a match. You'd have to find other information. But I feel like if you have a perfect bite mark.
But that might be the only evidence they have.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know. That sounds pretty damning.
I remember her evidence got
lost.
Yeah.
Well,
so they probably had DNA and stuff, but they couldn't compare it to anybody because it was degraded.
Dang.
Yeah. They didn't ever release his name, but he said he was a cook at a restaurant in the area, and he was never officially cleared.
Mm-hmm.
But it still remains unsolved.
Mm-hmm.
So then with Lisa Marie, she was 1998, Wyoming. Her boyfriend's name, I think I just said Ed in the last one, but her boyfriend's name was Ed Jaroche, and she was going to visit him, not pick him up.
Okay.
And remember how I talked about she was pulled over and she tried to get money from an ATM?
Mm-hmm.
So the cop gave a statement and said that he stopped her for going 88 miles an hour.
Mm.
So I'm assuming it was maybe reckless or something.
Yeah.
And when she couldn't pay it off, when she couldn't get the money or whatever, she signed a promise to return. And so that's why I think maybe she was able to kind of go pay for it.
Right.
But I'm not sure. It didn't go into detail. But he also said, like, she was put together, like, nothing seemed amiss.
Mm-hmm.
So when she didn't end up making it back to her boyfriend, he did try calling around Denver to see if she had maybe gotten in an accident or something.
Right.
Couldn't find anything. Her father ends up reporting her missing. Her family actually chartered a plane and, like, would fly over the highways that she could have possibly taken.
Oh, wow.
And did end up finding, like, her car.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. They didn't end up finding her car. To try and find her car.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. And, pass out flyers and all that kind of good stuff. But I didn't realize, like, that they had gotten a plane kind of thing. They matched her identity, get this, on spinal x-rays. I know.
Wild.
I've never heard that before.
I haven't either.
It was new. But I was like, okay. Like I said, bound, beaten, sexually assaulted. Her cause of death was it was some fancy schmancy name that I couldn't pronounce. But basically what it meant was that she had both blood and free air in her chest cavity.
Oh.
So to me, it kind of sounded like she drowned in her blood, maybe. Authorities believe that the knife wounds were unique and practiced and distinctive. So they're thinking that maybe the person has done this before.
Yeah.
Also, so she was found near a river, and when they were searching the area, her blood was also found a quarter mile upstream by the old government bridge. And so what they think is she was killed, like, on the bridge or something like that, and then dumped into the river.
Wow.
The bridge is very difficult to access and difficult to use, so authorities suspect he's from the area.
To know about it.
Mm-hmm. The FBI said the discipline of the murder indicated it could be the work of a serial killer. Remember, hers did technically get solved. It's the Dale Eaton guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we are so next week, we're going to go into more details of the suspects involved. So we're going to take a closer look at him next week.
Okay.
And then there was Bitter Creek Betty. She was found in 1982. She was actually wrapped in trash bags. It appeared sophisticated enough to be the work of a serial killer. They did find some of her clothes. Her pink sweatpants were found nearby and a single ring and necklace. They think maybe a wedding ring. And the killer actually had cut himself, and the blood was tested, and it was type O.
And this is on Betty?
Yes.
Okay.
They estimated that she was found March 1st, 1992. They estimated that she had been killed between October of 1991 and February of 1992.
So question, with them finding the DNA and knowing the blood type, are we at the time when we're able to match DNA? The DNA eventually does get matched to somebody. Oh, okay.
Yeah. What was his name? Clark? I don't know. I can't remember his name, but it was him and another woman, I think in Tennessee, and another Jane Doe and her were all linked to this one guy. And he's still, like, waiting trial. Again, we're going to go into him more.
Still as in the 90s?
No, still as in right now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they just figured it out.
Wow.
But we still don't know her name.
Okay.
But her face was actually really well preserved, so they were able to share a sketch with the public, and I did put the picture on our Instagram post from last week.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, sexual assault. Her COD was strangulation. The second autopsy, so remember that ice pick thing I talked about?
Mm-hmm.
So they discovered it in the second autopsy, and I think they might have changed her COD because the ice pick, like, went through her eye.
Ugh.
And I'm sorry, through her nostril.
Oh.
Almost, it seemed like a lobotomy.
Like a lobotomy,
almost.
yeah.
So the guy that I said in Arizona said he recognized the tattoo that she has.
Yeah.
His name was Ralph Hawley. He is from Kick-Ass Tattooing, and he was actually hypnotized. And he remembered tattooing the girl and said that she was an intelligent hitchhiker. And this was in Arizona. The video of the hypnosis used to be online, but it has been removed.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. So hers is, like, in the process of possibly being solved because her DNA was matched to this one guy.
Yeah.
Or the DNA was matched to this one guy. But we still don't know her identification. And I mentioned last time that it's either we still don't know it or it's possibly that they're not, like, announcing it or whatever. So those are kind of some of the updates that I found that I didn't mention last week.
Okay.
So here's, like, the official timeline. So in 1983, we have Janelle Johnson. She was found in Wyoming. 1998 was Lisa Marie Kimmel, also from Wyoming. Then in 1989, we had Vicki Perkins. She was found at a rest stop off of I-70 in Utah. She also had no possessions with her. Her official cause of death could not be determined because of advanced stages of decomposition, but they believe it was strangulation. We'll go into her more during Utah. 1990, Patricia Candace Walsh, also found in Utah. She was found on October 26th, and she was found in Millard County, Utah, off a steep incline off of I-15. She was nude and possibly posed, which I'll go into more later.
Okay.
Her cause of death was 4 gunshot wounds to the head and the neck. The bullets were discontinued in 1970, and it was from a .22 caliber.
Interesting.
Yes. She actually wasn't identified until 2003, so up until then, she was known as Jane Doe number 1.
Oh, wow.
Barbara Williams, who was known as Jane Doe number 2 until she was identified. She was found March 2nd, 1991 in Utah, near the Mills exit off of I-15. She was also found nude, shot 8 times with a .25 caliber gun.
The same one as the other gun, or no?
The other one was .22 caliber, and the
22
bullets
caliber.
were discontinued.
Okay. Yeah.
In 1991, Ermelinda Garza was traveling from Nevada to Utah to visit her boyfriend. In the beginning of April, people said that they saw her at possibly a rest stop or a truck stop or something, but she was found on April 2nd in a remote area about 2 miles from I-15, shot 6 times with a .22 caliber, and she was nude from the waist down. She was actually found close to an hour after she had been killed.
Wow.
Yeah. And her clothes were found nearby and inside out. In 1992, we have Bitter Creek Betty from Wyoming. In 1993, we have Elko County Jane Doe from Nevada. And 1997, we have Tanya Teskey from Idaho, which are the ones we're going to be discussing today. Like I said, I know one is from Idaho, but I wasn't sure where to squeeze her in and felt like this was the right place to put her.
Yeah.
So, on November 16th, 1993, a body was discovered in a remote part of Elko County. Before I go into it, any questions?
Oh my gosh. I don't think so.
Okay. Because there's a lot of information.
It is a lot of information. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. You won't necessarily have to, I'll help with making the connections between some of things that I talk about.
Thank you.
Yeah. I try to be good about that.
That'll be needed.
Yeah. So on November 16th, 1993, a body was discovered in a remote part of Elko County, Nevada, off an unofficial turnoff in a particularly rough area. Interestingly, this same stretch of road had been the scene of another unsolved murder back in 1986. I haven't looked too deep into that, but nothing else was mentioned about it. What set this case apart immediately was the sheer scale of the investigation that followed. 15 different agencies became involved. The woman, who remains unidentified to this day, was found completely nude and posed in the shape of a cross. So, her arms were outstretched.
Yeah.
Her feet were, out in front of her, kind of separated a little bit. And I can't remember if her hair was posed, but they kept referring to it looking like the shape of a cross.
Ugh.
Investigators determined that she had likely been dead for about 6 days before being discovered.
Oh, wow.
She was estimated to be in her mid to late 20s, and remarkably, usable fingerprints were recovered from her body. An autopsy revealed the extent of her suffering. She had been brutally beaten and then shot once in the heart with a small caliber firearm. Authorities believe she was killed elsewhere and then transported to the site where she was ultimately found. Toxicology tests showed marijuana and alcohol in her system, and it was also determined that she had been sexually assaulted. Forensic experts sent a sample of her hair to Utah for isotope testing in order to try to pinpoint where she'd been living before her death.
Oh, how fascinating.
And you can figure out a whole bunch of people, a bunch of things when you do that.
So weird.
Yeah. The results suggested that she had lived in Wyoming for at least 7 months prior to being killed.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Despite all of this evidence, no one has ever identified her, and her case remains unsolved. So she's posed, and you're going to hear that cross shape come back.
Okay.
Yeah. She's not the only one that was posed like that.
That's so weird.
So that she was shot with a small caliber rifle, similar in terms of her profile, and she was sexually assaulted.
Okay.
Fast forward to 1997, and another woman from Wyoming would meet a similarly tragic end. Tanya Teskey, originally from the small town of Shoshone, had dropped out of high school and began hitchhiking across the region. She reportedly earned money through sex work and had a few run-ins with the law, including an arrest for forging checks at Pizza Hut. On August 13th, 1997, Tanya was last seen leaving the Cimarron, it kind of sounded like cinnamon, but I'm not sure, lodge in Montana. She was in the company of an older white man and was seen carrying a green suitcase and a brown shoulder bag. 2 days later, her body was found near Yukon, Idaho, at the bottom of a grassy slope just off Highway 20. A lot of these women are found like near
Off
an
the
interstate.
highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had been concealed by tall weeds and was completely nude except for a silver ring in her right hand, her only remaining possession.
Oh, that's interesting. Because the other ones didn't have anything.
Yep. So,
Yeah.
like, I associated her with some of the other ones we talked about that had no possessions with
Nothing.
them except for, like, some jewelry.
Huh.
Yeah.
And it's like you would think, too, like, of everything, why wouldn't they take the jewelry?
Yeah, exactly. Though it couldn't be conclusively determined whether she had been sexually assaulted due to her line of work.
Oh, yeah.
She did have signs of, like, physical trauma,
Okay.
like physical assault.
Mm-hmm.
Investigators withheld the exact cause of death, but stated it was not caused by a gun or a knife. A month later, her clothing was discovered stuffed inside of a plastic bag at a truck loading dock in Utah.
Weird.
Tanya's case, like so many others in the Great Basin region, remains unsolved, and together these stories continue to raise unsettling questions about the dangerous and deadly pattern that haunts this desolate corner of the West. While at least 9 women are officially connected to the Great Basin murders, there are other cases, some older, some newer, that share similar details. Their deaths or disappearances occurred along the same highways, in the same states, and under similar circumstances. Many remain nameless or unsolved. So I have these
Okay.
possible additional victims. I got it from a YouTube video I watched. It's in the show notes. I think they're called like Paradox or something like that. I could be wrong, but their opening that they have at the beginning is like very old school. But the video is from like March of this year.
Okay.
Or last year maybe. So it was cool. But they include some of these people, and I mean, it's definitely very similar.
Yeah.
So some of these are from Nevada, some are from Wyoming and Utah.
Mm-hmm.
So still the states that we've been talking about.
Area, yeah.
But I'm just going to cover these possible additional victims, and then in next week's episode, again, we'll have the recap, review the timeline, go into the Utah victims in more detail, and then we'll conclude with like the suspects that have been associated.
Okay.
So that's how I decided to split it up.
Okay.
So this one's pretty much focused on the victims as much as we can.
All right.
So we're going to start with the Star Valley Jane Doe, the oldest case in Elko County, Nevada. In July 1972, a rancher, remember, so the first one that they associated with it is 1983. So in July of 1972, a rancher and his son made a horrifying discovery on their property. The nude body of a young woman posed in a cross-like manner on top of a hill about 8 miles from Interstate 80. She was approximately 5'2", 110 pounds, with shoulder-length reddish blonde hair, and had been dead for less than 10 days. Due to the summer heat, though, decomposition had been accelerated.
Yeah.
The medical examiner was able to retrieve a fingerprint and noted an appendix scar on her torso, as well as 2 .22 caliber gunshot wounds, one to the cheek and another to the neck. There was only one lead, a blue Volkswagen with Tennessee license plates seen in the area on July 7th, 1972. But the vehicle was never located, and authorities did believe that it may have been reported stolen, but they could never find it.
And wait, when was it seen?
July 7th, 1972.
And when was this body found?
I don't know the exact date, but it was in July.
Of 1972?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. What makes this case particularly haunting is the similarity to another unsolved murder in Elko County, the 1993 Jane Doe that we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
Both women had dark hair, were in their 20s, left nude and posed in a cross-like fashion, shot with a small caliber weapon, and discarded near Interstate 80. They were found just 50 miles and 21 years apart, yet the Star Valley Jane Doe has never been identified and her case remains unsolved. Which is not typically included.
And I always think it's so wild when someone remains a Jane Doe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like that they didn't have anyone come forward and say, oh, this is who this is, or that they weren't able to find who it is.
I can't imagine, too, like, there's going to come a point where those people who are still unidentified that, like, you'd like to think, like, oh, maybe their family just hasn't seen anything about it yet, and that's why. But eventually, you know, if she's from 1972, most of her family might be gone.
And it's also like if she went missing and her family reported it, then you have all these missing people. And they do Cops will sometimes, like, find, like, "Oh, we have this missing person, we have this Jane Doe, like, can we match them?" Or, like,
Yeah.
if the families come forward and they're like, "Oh, she has these, like, distinguishing characteristics," you're
Yeah.
able to match it.
Yeah.
So that's kinda I don't know, it's very sad
Oh, absolutely.
and also just wild that it's been all this time and she's still just unidentified.
Yeah, I know. In 1980, another victim would be left near a Nevada interstate, this time near I-15 in Henderson. On October 5th, the body of a young woman was found in a rural area. She had been brutally attacked, beaten with what appeared to be a roofing or framing hammer, and stabbed 7 times in the back with a sharp object, similar to an ice pick.
I was just gonna say.
The overkill was so intense that her teeth had been knocked out. She had a fresh blue tattoo on the inside of her right forearm, possibly a 5 or maybe an S, and it had been done shortly before her death. Nearby, investigators found pieces of what looked like an orange or yellow shower curtain, so it's believed that she was murdered elsewhere and possibly cleaned before being dumped. With no leads, she became known as the Arrero Grande Jane Doe.
Do we believe that with her, like, with the brutality of the crime, that she would have known the person?
It's possible,
Mhm.
um, but they didn't figure out who she was until 2021.
Wow.
Yeah, so her body had been exhumed 4 times over the years in hopes of gathering evidence that could help solve the case. Finally, in November of 2021, forensic genealogy helped uncover her identity. Her name was Tammy Terrell, and she was 17 years old, and she had been staying in a group home for troubled teens. Her sisters had given, like, DNA, and that's how it was matched. And so I think they're the ones who kind of, like, filled in what happened.
Wow.
On September 29th, 1980, she and another girl were dropped off at the New Mexico Fairgrounds by the staff of the group home.
Mhm.
But when they went to go pick the girls back up, Tammy was not there.
And at the time, like, I guess since she's with a group home, was it a thing where they just assumed she ran away? Or did they,
Probably. I'm gonna
like,
assume
search
so.
for her?
That I don't know. It didn't say, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and assume that. Which it's
Yeah.
interesting though, because I don't know how far the fairgrounds was to where she was found,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
but she was found a weekish,
Mhm.
the 29th to the 5th of October.
Right.
So you would think that if she was reported missing, it would be associated, but
Right.
I'm not even sure if if the New Mexico Fairgrounds might have been in New Mexico.
Mhm.
And if that's the case, then they wouldn't have, not in
Yeah.
1980, they wouldn't have connected it.
Right.
Yeah, that's my assumption. She was later spotted at a Denny's with a man and a woman, and that was the last time she was seen alive. Her death remains unsolved, but her case is particularly alarming. Another young woman sexually assaulted, abandoned nude, and murdered with an ice pick like weapon.
She was not posed, though.
No. Another chilling case is that of Amy Betchel, a 24-year-old woman who vanished from Wyoming in 1997. Amy was an active and vibrant woman with a degree in exercise physiology. She lived with her husband, Steve, a rock climber, and had plans to map out a 10K trail run through the Shoshone National Forest. On July 24th, she left home wearing a yellow shirt and black shorts, but never returned. Her car was found parked at a trailhead turnoff, keys under a to-do list on the seat. Also, when her husband, when she didn't come home, obviously he grew concerned and he gathered neighbors to help him find it. They found the car. And so yeah. The car was unlocked and her wallet was missing, though her friends say she rarely carried it on runs with her.
What I think that was interesting is that her husband's a climber, you said?
Mhm.
Don't they use ice picks?
I don't know. He's a rock climber. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if he's climbing anything with ice.
I don't know. Have your dad ask his friend who's climbing Mount Everest.
You're right. Well, yeah, he's going to use ice
He's gonna have an ice pick.
Despite an extensive search involving over 100 volunteers, no trace of Amy was found. Authorities began suspecting foul play after 5 days of Amy being missing, and her husband obviously became a person of interest.
Well, duh.
But the search was called off after 8 days. While some dark poetry was found in their home, other than that, nothing directly linked Steve to her disappearance.
Dark poetry meaning what?
It just said dark poetry.
Interesting.
Yeah. Amy's case was featured on Unsolved Mysteries, but no new leads surfaced. Some believe law enforcement focused too narrowly on her husband, possibly overlooking other suspects.
Yeah.
Her disappearance remains a mystery, but it may be linked to a suspect that we'll discuss in next week's episode.
Interesting.
Because the video that I was watching said that, when they re-examine things, they may have found something. So you'll have to listen next week to figure out what it is.
I will certainly be here next week.
Yeah. But you still got a cliffhanger, too.
I know, I do. But I don't have to wait a full week for it. We're recording in 2 days.
Oh, yeah. Ha, ha, ha. There you go. Lastly, there's the case of Nicole Bakalos? Sorry if I'm saying her name wrong. Who was found in Utah in October of 2000. Her remains were discovered wrapped in plastic and duct tape in a field near Interstate 80. Due to advanced decomposition, investigators were only able to recover between 12 and 26 bones, including a skull, as well as some rotting teeth, a little bit of hair, a white sock, and a blue choker necklace. It would take over a decade for her identity to be confirmed. In 2012, DNA testing identified her as 20-year-old Nicole Bakalis, a Washington native who had moved to Utah with her boyfriend in 1998. They did have a daughter, but they lost custody due to unstable living conditions.
Oh, wow.
In March 2000, after a fight, Nicole's boyfriend left to cool off, and she was never seen again. For whatever reason, he was not considered a suspect.
That would have been my first suspect.
100%.
Like, you don't have an alibi, pretty much, because you left.
Right.
You're mad at her. That gives you the motive. Like,
yeah.
That's weird.
Investigators did receive an anonymous phone call from someone claiming to be her killer, but the caller was never identified.
I don't believe that.
And her murder remains unsolved, like so many of the others.
Right.
These stories are deeply disturbing and tragically familiar. Women, many young, transient, or vulnerable, vanishing or turning up murdered near highways, their identities erased, or their killers never caught. While not officially part of the Great Basin Murders, these cases share striking similarities in geography, method, and victim profile.
Yeah, they do.
They serve as a painful reminder that the scope of this mystery may be wider and darker than we ever imagined. In conclusion...
Because, yeah, before you get to your in conclusion.
Okay.
Because when you mentioned the timeline at the beginning, you were like, it was like from 83 to 90-something.
97.
Okay. And then you talk about these ones who are like slightly outside of those main ones, like the core ones, from like the 70s all the way to the 2000s.
Yeah.
Which then just kind of
right, like
expands that.
1972.
Yeah.
1980. 1997. And 2000.
Yeah.
So but just still like not like crazy outside the range.
No, not crazy outside, but it still just expands it a lot, which is interesting.
Yeah. I definitely think... I go back and forth on Amy being
Which
part
year
of it.
Was she?
She was 1997, but she was never found.
Yeah. Because the other ones were.
Yeah. So that's why it's hard for me to say whether or not she was involved, because if she's found and she
exhibits the same, like, yeah, has the same stuff.
Yes. But the 1980 victim who was with a possible ice pick, and then the one found in 1972, which was also in the shape of a cross, I definitely think could be part of it for sure. But don't know. I don't know. In conclusion, again, the Great Basin Murders continue to raise more questions than answers. In this episode, we explored the chilling cases from Nevada, women who were brutalized, discarded, and in many instances left without names. From the Elko County Jane Doe to Tammy Terrell, and from those officially linked to the series and those who just might be part of something bigger, it is clear that Nevada has its share of dark and unresolved mysteries. The similarities between these cases, the isolated dump sites, the patterns of violence, and the transient lifestyles, paint a haunting picture of a predator or predators who may have used the vast highways of the Great Basin as a hunting ground.
Yeah.
But we're not done yet. Next week, we'll travel into Utah, the final state in this trilogy, to dig into some of the cases that emerged there. We'll explore more victims, forensic breakthroughs, and dive into some of the prime suspects who may tie this all together. Could one person be responsible for these murders across state lines? Or are we looking at a series of killers exploiting the same dark stretches of roads? Join me next week as we close out the series with part 3 of the Great Basin Murders.
Ooh.
Sha.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And I know the Great Basin area, which I cover a little bit in my story, it's just like such like an expanse.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention, just because you reminded me of this with your story. Amy is also possibly speculated to be part of like missing 411 phenomenon.
Oh.
Forgot to put that in there. But yes.
Interesting.
So like
yeah, it's such a big expanse. So it seems like it is a place where it's not, it is easy to take people there and hide people there.
It's a desert.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, they're pass-through states.
Yeah.
A lot of the time.
Exactly.
So truck drivers
Yup.
are big time suspects, things
Because
like
wasn't that in your first part of this? Like, so last week we talked about truck drivers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Some of the Utah ones also are solved, which is interesting because there's one where there's like it's figured out
Mm-hmm.
and the person isn't been able to be associated with any of the other ones.
That's what I think is so wild with this, is
Right.
that some of them, they're solved, or so much solved. And then other ones are just completely unknown, but they're all lumped together.
Right. Like I felt like this one, I was like, well, then maybe take that one out.
Yeah.
But I think they just kind of keep them together because the
locality.
location.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you look at like, I can't remember. I don't think I included the map in the post from last time, but I can't remember. If I didn't, I'll definitely do it this time. But it's like, it kind of goes like diagonally across the states.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned that.
But it's not like all over the place. Like it definitely follows like a trek of some kind.
Weird. Well, I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, we'll go into all the bad guys.
Yeah.
The Utah ones are interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, nicely
Especially
done.
the one with the like out of service bullets.
Yes.
I feel like that should be able to make it
feel
real
like that
easy.
should be a big hint.
Yeah.
Like, go find who manufactured them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So.
But, I mean, out of service bullets, though, you just get them from someone else who, like, had them in their house forever.
Right.
You know,
exactly.
It could be anything.
Exactly. So, we shall see.
Wow. Well, very interesting.
Yeah, man.
Very nice job so far. This is so exciting to having, like, a 3-parter.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I say tie it all together, I mean that it'll just be the last part. I don't think anything will actually be tied together because this is all unsolved.
As much as you can tie together an unsolved case.
Right. Like you're just going to have all of the facts, but they're not tied together.
But there's no way. Yeah, they're not connected. You have everything.
Yeah.
Not connected.
Exactly. Like think of like getting a present. Everything's in the box, but nothing is wrapped.
But at least with the present, it all does come together at the end.
Think of it as like a hodgepodge gift.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Someone didn't really know it was your birthday. They grabbed everything that they could from their car to throw together.
Yes.
It doesn't have a rhyme or reason. It's just there.
No. And they wanted to not just hand it to you, so they put it in like a bag, but it doesn't have anything like...
No tissue paper.
Nothing. They just handed you the bag. It's a representation of...
Here's your gift.
This case.
Well, nice job so far.
Thank you, thank you. What's spooky to you porn, Lauren?
All right, so the one I'm covering today, I had heard about before, and I've read a little bit about it before.
Okay.
But when I saw like this was like in Nevada, I was like, ooh, okay, I actually want to look into this. So I'm covering the disappearance of hiker and YouTuber Kenny Veach. So for some, I think this might be a popular story, like people who have been on YouTube and maybe people in Nevada. And people have talked about him and his disappearance, but it's not incredibly well known, so I think it fits.
I don't know it.
Then there we go.
Okay.
We're perfect. Kenny Veach, a 47-year-old Nevada local.
47?
Yes.
I was not expecting that.
What were you expecting, like teenager?
Like 20s at least.
Like 20s?
Yeah.
So he was a YouTuber, hiker, and outdoorsman who would record himself seeking out unusual and mysterious locations. He was well known for his...
number one. Never go to unusual and mysterious places.
By yourself.
Yeah.
He was well known for his YouTube channel, where he shared videos of his adventures in the deserts and mountains of Nevada. His channel was under the nickname Snakebite MG, like McGee, but without the C. So Snakebite MG. Most of the time, he took these adventures alone, but there were hikes and adventures that he would go on with his girlfriend, Sharon Pilgrim. Veach had a love for the desert, mainly the Mojave Desert and the Great Basin Desert, so that is where he focused most of his time and energy. He was also really into minimalist camping, so he would go on these multi-day adventures with minimal food and water, no GPS, no compass, and no maps.
Sounds miserable.
It really does. But the Mojave Desert is a very brutal and unforgiving landscape. It stretches over 4 states, California, which includes Death Valley, Arizona, Utah, and of course Nevada. Its area is so vast that Ireland and Iceland could fit in it. What this means is... It's also prone to extreme temperatures and very dry, arid conditions, so especially dangerous if you are inadequately prepared. So during many of his hikes, he would collect animal bones and other strange things he found and use these items to decorate his home.
Okay.
Because he couldn't make money just exploring the desert, Veach also did have a full-time job. He worked as a coffee company service technician, but shortly before his disappearance, he decided to just quit that job and try to become an inventor.
Okay.
A lot of the content on his YouTube at this point was him talking about working on these new inventions. He did come up with one invention, though. So he invented what he claimed to be an improved version of a toilet paper holder.
Tell me more.
I can't. I could not find anything else about it. He even submitted his invention to the show Shark Tank.
What?
But again, I have no idea how it went, but I don't think the sharks took it because we don't know what it is.
Correct.
It was also around this time that he attempted to sell his house, but he had an odd caveat. Whoever bought the house had to hire him as a caretaker and agree to let him continue to decorate the house in his own style.
No.
Right. So shockingly, no one took him up on this offer.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Like the caretaker, but the part...
But like the caretaker is like if it's a big mansion and I know all the tricks and secrets of the mansion.
True.
It's just a house.
Yeah, it's also the keeping it decorated how we want.
Right.
Like, you just want a landlord because you can't afford the house.
That's pretty much what it sounds like. Yeah. So earlier in 2024, Veach had posted a comment on a YouTube video of another account. So there was another,
sorry, say that date
let me
again?
start that all over.
Okay.
Earlier in 2014, Veach had posted a comment on a YouTube video from another account titled Son of an Area 51 Technician.
Is the name of the account that he's using now?
No, that's the one he commented on.
Oh, okay.
So this account belonged to the son of an Area 51 technician. The son was speaking about some of the things his father had told him about his job, while drunk. Veach had watched the video and then commented on it.
Okay.
So in his comment, which had been deleted, Veach was talking about a strange experience he had while he was hiking in the Sheep Range, which is just south of Area 51. It's a mountain range. In his comment, Veach spoke about the time that he had discovered a cave that was shaped like the letter M, a capital M. He went on to say that while exploring, being near the cave made his whole body vibrate, and these vibrations got more intense the closer he got to the cave.
I've heard about these.
About this cave or vibrations near caves?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Ballin talks about it.
Oh, does he?
Yes. Because the whole thing with the vibration in the cave sounds...
Oh, interesting. I mean, he
definitely talks about it.
Yeah. So Veach's comment said, quote, "That ain't nothing. I am a long-distance hiker. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base, I found a hidden cave." Nellis Air Force Base is just an Air Force Base nearby. The entrance to the
Area
cave...
51.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Close to Area 51.
Oh, I thought it was. I thought the base was Area 51.
Oh, maybe it is.
Yeah.
Please hold.
Okay.
Let's check to see if that is, because it might be. Area 51 is not part of Nellis Air Force Base. It's officially known as the Neva-da Test and Training Range.
Oh.
They're very, very close, but they're not the same.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, so continuing on with the comment. One time during one of my hikes out by Nellis Air Force Base, I found a hidden cave. The entrance to the cave was shaped like the perfect capital M. I always enter every cave I find, but as I began to enter this particular cave, my whole body began to vibrate. The closer I got to the cave entrance, the worse the vibrating became. Suddenly, I became very scared and hightailed it out of there. That was one of the strangest things that has ever happened to me. He also added, quote, "I solo hike across mountaintops that most people wouldn't dare go. I have been in more caves than I can count. I play with rattlesnakes for fun, but this one particular cave was beyond anything I had ever encountered." But yeah, so that comment pretty much is saying, like, I go into these caves all the time. I've entered countless caves, but this one scared me.
Yeah, Mr. Ballin in his episode, it was like one of those trespassing ones. And he mentions this. I don't know if he was talking about like this person specifically. I don't think so, but he mentioned someone else commenting something similar.
Oh, interesting.
And he explains it as like something that the military does to keep people from trespassing.
I get to something like that. Yep.
Yeah.
So, of course, Veach's comment garnered a lot of attention from other users and a lot of mixed reactions from the YouTube community. Some people were intrigued, fascinated by what Veach was explaining and what he claimed he had experienced, but others were skeptical, saying that his entire story about finding a vibrating cave was fabricated. Many encouraged him to go back, explore the site further, and capture footage of the cave, so they wanted him to post about his trip. So a little about M Cave before we move forward. Veach was a pretty experienced hiker. He had claimed to have hiked countless different mountains and caves in the Mojave and Great Basin deserts, but he had never come upon anything like M Cave. Veach also said that his body vibrated more the closer he got to the entrance. So apparently M Cave is known in and of itself for having very unusual sounds coming from it and possessing mysterious properties and having a very mysterious and unsettling aura. Phil Donahue, a media personality, commented on the allure of the site, suggesting that it may have drawn dark forces to the area. The cave is located in an area known for its isolation. It is considered a remote and challenging area, a place where hikers typically don't go. A big reason many don't even go near here is because it took Veach over 10 hours of hiking just to reach the vicinity of N Cave and go back to his car.
Wow.
So it's 5 hours just to get out that way. something that many hikers aren't even willing or even able to do. And it's in the desert.
Yeah.
So this landscape is also dotted with old mine shafts, some of which have reportedly been used by the military for chemical disposal. And the area has a reputation for being dangerous, with reports of drug activity and even being a dumping ground for murder victims, as we have learned in your story. So Veach had made up his mind and decided that he would return to find M Cave, and this announcement also received a lot of feedback. Again, all of the feedback was mixed, with some people being very supportive and excited and others challenging the mere existence of the cave. But there were others who were very concerned and worried for him. Some of them were concerned and warned him not even to go back at all. One comment, which was deleted shortly after being posted, said, quote, "No, do not go back there. If you find the cave entrance, don't go in. If you do, you won't get out." So motivated by the doubt of many, Veach returned to the sheep range in October 2014 to find M Cave again. And I watched his video of his first trip, or maybe it was his second trip, going to there and like trying to find it. And there were people in the comments who were like, "Is anyone here in 2025?" And someone was like, "I'm trying to find the comment telling him not to go back." It's been deleted.
Yes.
He recorded his whole trip and published it to the YouTube channel under the title M Cave Hike on October 18th. So yeah, that's the one I watched. In the video, he reported sightings of a black ram, the animal, not the car, that was watching him from atop a ridge during his entire trip.
That's a good distinction.
Yes. Well, because I didn't watch that far into the video. I just watched like the first like 10 minutes.
How long is it?
It's like 28 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It's a very long video, so I didn't watch the whole thing because as I was about to watch it, my phone broke. So
priorities.
I didn't continue watching it.
Yeah.
But so in the article that I found that was talking about the black ram, the R was lowercase. Yes. Led me to believe it was not a car.
Yes.
He also found a tarantula and a tortoise in addition to the ram. I don't know if that was lightning that I just saw.
I think it was a bird.
I don't know. That was weird because I heard the bird fly into the roof, but there was like a shock of something out there. Okay. But overall, he wasn't able to find the cave. There is something flashing outside because I just saw a flash over there. Oh, no, either. The wind's picking up, but I don't think it's supposed to storm. I don't know. Anywho.
It could be the wind going in front of it.
Maybe. But overall, he wasn't able to find the cave. He thought he was in the vicinity, but he just wasn't able to find the actual cave.
Even though he said he had been there before?
Yes. Yes. The skeptics had a field day saying that the video proved that the cave definitely didn't exist. But now he was determined. He needed to find the cave to prove that it was there and that he wasn't joking about having found it that time. So Veach announced that once again, he would go back to Sheep Ridge and try to find M Cave. This came with many people expressing their concerns about him going back, warning him not to go back a third time, that there was something weird with the cave and they were concerned for him. Veach said that this time he would be armed with his gun and that when he found M Cave, he would go in and prove it was there. So Veach planned to return back to Sheep Ridge near Nellis Air Force Base on November 10th, 2014. And obviously, with it being an Air Force base, it is for the Air Force. They host air combat exercises and close air support exercises, among other things here. So that morning, he got himself ready, packing his minimal food and water, his cell phone, and other small supplies he would need for his journey. Before he left, he told his girlfriend of his plans, but didn't tell her specifically where he was going, but that he would be gone for a short overnight trip and he would probably be gone for about 3 days. And with that, he hopped into his truck and headed out. That was the last time he was ever seen or heard from. 3 days passed, and when Veach didn't return, his girlfriend immediately reported him missing. After his girlfriend called to report him missing, a search operation was immediately launched. The search included volunteers and officials from the Neva-da Search and Rescue Team. Over 30 search and rescue teams searched the area 3 different times on foot.
Damn.
A helicopter flew over as well looking for anything. An extensive search of the area was conducted, and all that was found of Veach was his cell phone, which was discovered on November 22nd, so 12 days after he left for his trip, near an abandoned mine shaft in the Sheep Range. The location of this phone suggests that he made it to the general area of where he was intending to explore.
I wonder if he went into the mine.
I don't know. Dave Cummings, Red Rock's search and rescue commander, said that they found his cell phone close to a very vertical old mine shaft, but they couldn't find another trail. Quote, "It doesn't mean that he's down the mine shaft, but we had tracked him as far as we can. We are having our other crews come in from the search areas." So they did find the car where Cher and his girlfriend said it would be. The mine shaft where the phone was found was about a 4-hour hike from his car. But they didn't go into the vertical shaft because, like Dave Cummings said, he doesn't think he went down the mine shaft.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, double check.
Right, I don't know.
Yeah.
And maybe it could be a thing where it's like so vertical that they couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
But that part was never explained. It was just they don't think he was down there. No one went down to check.
Okay.
In January of 2021, a group of friends, all from Nevada, got together and launched a website. The website was dedicated to finding Veach and documenting all of their search efforts. But by December 9th of that year, so they started this in January, by December 9th, the website, for some reason, converted into an alternate reality game that claimed that Veach had never even existed.
What?
But by May 2022, the website had been taken down and was no longer accessible.
That's weird.
It's so weird. CNN released a 2-hour documentary about Veach's disappearance on November 28th, 2021.
Wow.
But to date, he is still missing and is sadly presumed dead. So naturally, with any disappearance, we have theories.
Of course.
So first off, Kenzie, what do you think happened before we go into any of the theories?
I think he went into the mine shaft.
Okay, so you think
Yeah.
bad choice, he went to the mine shaft, got trapped down there, can't come up? Okay, so our first one.
Or he was like looking in and slipped and fell in.
Okay.
Like if it's a vertical thing, like if they can't check it because maybe they can't get in, then maybe he was like looking in and fell in.
Did his phone fall out of his pocket?
I don't know.
All right, so the first theory is the murder/military action theory.
Yeah, he could have like put his stuff down.
He could have.
Yeah.
So this first theory is the most fun and most wild theory. So either he was murdered or he was involved in some sort of military government action. Many unsavory characters may use these deserts to conduct their nefarious activities, as it is so far removed from civilization. And maybe Veach stumbled upon something he shouldn't have, and those who were doing whatever illegal things took care of him.
I feel like they would take his phone.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Then, of course, due to its proximity to Area 51 and to Nellis Air Force Base, some speculate that he may have encountered something he shouldn't have, like aliens or secret military experiments.
I think there's a possibility he could have found something he shouldn't have.
And that maybe he was killed by the U.S. military to prevent him from revealing what he discovered. So his whole body vibrating could very well be explained by sonic or ultrasonic weapons, which are apparently a very real thing. Ultrasonic or high frequencies can be focused to produce concentrated energy at a target. So these weapons can be used to keep intruders out of restricted areas.
Yep.
They can even be used for crowd control. So maybe the vibrations he was feeling were these frequencies, keeping him from exploring deeper into the cave.
Maybe he was checking the mine to see if he was going to get the same frequencies and tried to get in as far as possible.
Oh, maybe.
And fell that way.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So that's the first theory. What are we feeling about that one?
I mean, I definitely think it could be possible he stumbled across something he shouldn't have, whether it was nefarious or otherwise.
Yeah.
To find nothing of his besides the phone
is weird.
Yeah.
But he's also a minimalist, so he doesn't travel with much.
But he had something.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't go out there with zero things. The other thing, too, I'm like, well, if he's recording this.
We will get to that.
Okay.
So our next one is an accidental death. This one is one of the most widely accepted theories, is that he just had an accident while hiking. So the desert conditions include extreme heat and temperatures, and the terrain is very rugged. It can easily lead to a fall or dehydration. And if he ventured into an unknown mine or cave, many accidents could have happened.
Yeah. Maybe he didn't even fall in. Maybe he went in and couldn't get back out.
Right. Especially if it's like super vertical. Maybe he thought there was another exit or something.
Yeah.
You know, no way to know.
Or he'd be able to like climb out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adding to this is the fact that he camps and hikes with minimal food and water, no GPS, no maps, nothing.
Yeah.
The desert easily could have killed him.
Sure.
But some don't necessarily think this could be the reason. So Veach had said, quote, "I have been doing this sort of thing for over 20 years. I go where no one goes, and I never take anyone with me. I find skulls of all shapes and sizes, and occasionally I find really old animal traps. I hike over mountaintop after mountaintop and sleep on peaks under the stars. Sometimes I have to scale giant cliffs to get myself out of a jam, but I always make it back. I'm beat up and tired, and my pack is almost always heavier than when I left. I had to be rescued only one time by a helicopter. I had blown out my left leg at the top of the mountain, and I only had a cup of water to get me 20 miles back to my truck. It was also over 100 degrees out, so I have a very good safety record." So,
and he brought his phone.
Right. So he believes he's great in these situations. He's done it multiple times. But the Mojave Desert is also home to many venomous snakes, to include rattlesnakes. There's mountain lions,
and
coyotes.
He did say he likes playing with snakes.
Right. And there's just all other sorts of dangerous animals.
Yeah.
And no matter how experienced you are with the desert, any experience with any of these animals can end poorly.
Sure.
So, I mean, he could have slipped and gotten hurt. He could have done anything.
He could have been filming, not paying attention.
There's a number of things that could have happened.
Absolutely.
So what do you think about this one?
It's plausible.
Okay. So then our next and probably most widely believed theory is suicide.
Oh.
So Veach's girlfriend, Sharon, said that Veach did struggle with depression and had been struggling for many years. It had actually gotten worse in the months leading up to his disappearance. He was struggling financially, especially after his invention thing wasn't really getting him anywhere. She said that he had expressed thoughts of suicide and had even once mentioned that if he ever did decide to take his own life, quote, no one would ever find me. Also, I guess I'll say trigger warning for suicide talk.
A little late.
A little late, sorry. Sharon believes that Veach may have intentionally disappeared and had picked this specific area due to the many caves and mine shafts that could almost certainly ensure he wouldn't be found.
Again, plausible.
And something I didn't pick up on at the beginning, she said that on this journey, he didn't take his camera.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah. Isn't that the whole point?
Yep. He took his phone. He took his minimal supplies. Did not take his camera.
Yeah.
So this is...
And maybe he, like, left the phone, so... Because, like, he's got to know that people are going to look for him.
Yep.
And so maybe he left, like, something behind.
That is exactly this theory.
Yeah.
So she says that him not taking the camera is suggesting that he didn't intend to film anything.
Wow.
She also believes that he left his phone near the mine shaft so that he couldn't be tracked and found. As much as she wants him to be found, Sharon emphasizes Veach's love for the desert, but warned others about the dangers of it, the dangers about searching for Veach, and the dangers of looking for End Cave without proper preparation. She highlighted the challenges that are associated with such a harsh environment. On his M Cave hike video, she commented and said, quote, and I did read this, I am the girlfriend that Kenny spoke. His name's Kenny. I am the girlfriend that Kenny spoke of in the video. There are so many posts. I had no idea until a friend let me know. So many people are wondering what happened and guessing different things. You are heartfelt about the sadness about what has happened with Kenny. He has not been found, and I feel that he probably will not be found for many, many months, if ever. I want to share what I know and feel about what happened so that you might bring some closure and understanding in your own lives. Kenny absolutely loved hiking in the desert. It was his very, very favorite thing to do. We hiked and camped together all over the Nevada desert, sometimes 9 hours in a day. We found many abandoned mining towns, usually referred to as ghost towns, which we talked about, by Nevada hikers. We explored many caves and mine shafts. We were always careful how we explored them, but Kenny was a bit more daring than I was. We wore snake guards, some protected clothing, used walking sticks, brought enough water and food for the hiking hours, and had extra water and food in the car. I want you to know that I did not think Kenny had an accident. I believe he committed suicide. He battled depression for many years and would not take medication or see a doctor. He quit his job a little more than a year before he disappeared. The search for him was started within a couple days of my call. Over 30 search and rescue team members searched 3 different times on foot. 1 helicopter flyover was done, and there was no trace of Kenny or any of his camping things. They found his car in the area I told them it would be. They did find his cell phone by the mine shafts in the video. Okay, so if it's the one in the video, I did see the mine shaft. It is quite literally a straight down drop.
Yeah. That's it.
Like, it's like a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
But in the video, he's very, very careful about not getting too close to it.
Okay.
The mine shaft was only about a 4-hour hike from his car. It is my feeling he left it behind so that he could not be tracked by the GPS in it. He also did not take his video camera with him on the solo hike. It was left in his home, so he had no intention of filming anything. I share this with you for 2 reasons. First, so that we will have more of an understanding who Kenny was and to bring some peace and understanding to the situation. Secondly, if any of you do decide to go out into our desert to look for him or the M Cave, be careful and bring enough food or water. Walking sticks are a good idea and not doing a solo hike. Bring a GPS and make sure that you have let family and friends know that you are heading out for a hike and where and when you will be returning. A search really can't be done on a one-day hike. You would be repeating much of the same hike, just getting up the mountain and then be left with not so many hours in the day to do the search. You would need 2 or 3 days at a time, and in the summer or even late spring, this cannot be done because of the heat of our desert.
Yeah.
Which I think it's interesting how she says our desert. You would not be able to carry enough water, so please, please be careful. I had many wonderful experiences with Kenny and will always remember them and have a place of love in my heart for him and the wonderful things we did together. I am healing from my loss and look forward to new experiences with desert hiking, camping, and taking beautiful pictures of our desert. Enjoy your adventures of life, and thank you for the kind, loving comments sent my way.
Oh.
So what do we think about that theory?
Again, plausible.
Which one are you thinking is the most likely?
Was anything found in his car?
No, nothing like substantial.
Okay. Logically, probably the last one.
Okay. So here's a very weird thing that I only read in one article.
Okay.
But I had to include it.
Okay.
So Susan Veach was Kenny's sister-in-law. She claimed that there were no photos or videos taken of the M Cave by Veach, which she said seemed off. So he said he found this cave. He's an avid YouTuber, but he never recorded his first adventure to the cave. So she thought that was very weird.
Yeah.
She even claimed that the M Cave didn't even exist, and he did all of this for attention, all as a way for him to fake his own death.
Fake his own death?
She said that he probably isn't even aware of the media attention surrounding his disappearance. So video footage emerged in July of 2018 of a man breaking into a wellness center and stealing an iPad from behind the counter. The wellness center was located in Las Vegas and was actually owned by Kenny Veach's sister, Debbie.
Oh.
Susan saw the video footage of this man, and she knew immediately that it was Veach. In the video, he is also seen clutching his knee from a supposed injury. She said, quote, "Instantly, I was like, oh my God, that's Kenny. My heart fell out of my chest. I swear I broke out in a sweat." But since then, there have been no new information or sightings of Kenny Veach. So that was 4 years after he went missing.
Interesting.
Some people, mainly people commenting on YouTube, have claimed to have found this M cave. One YouTuber claimed that he found the cave, but it was walled up with rocks. Another person said that they too found it, but it now has restricted signs on it. But who knows for sure? Did the M cave ever exist? What really happened to Kenny Veach? We may never truly know.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because I do remember hearing about this case a while ago.
Yeah.
And it was the whole, like, M cave and, like, you know, no one knows what happened to him. And, But yeah, so it could be suicide, but it kind of also sounds like if that video was him of 4 years later.
I mean, unless, like, he's, like, roughing it.
Right.
I feel like it's really hard to disappear this day and age.
Yes, and also roughing it in the desert doesn't seem like a very, like, I don't
You're
think
gonna run
that's
out
an
of
easy
shit.
thing. Like, you can do it in the woods. You can do it in the mountains. You can do it in those places where there's food and water and shelter.
Right. There's a reason that there's a limited amount of animals and plants in the desert.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, again, plausible, but I believe that one the least.
Which one? The starting a new life?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's Kenny Veach, the YouTuber, and some of his videos are still up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Which I thought was interesting because I was telling people at work about it, and they're like, well, the videos have to be removed, don't they? And I said, you would think. And then I look, no, you can watch the MK video. That's all there.
Yeah.
The comments are all there.
Yeah.
Sharon's comment is all there. Like, everything is there.
Yeah. I feel like unless it's like, I mean, even that guy that recorded those videos when he would, like, go up onto the, like, the tallest, like, skyscrapers and stuff and do that, whatever.
Yeah.
His might have been taken down because he ended up dying and, like, they got sued for it.
Ugh.
But it was up.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
And people were like, you're watching the video and, like, you know how on YouTube, like, the comments will pop up as you're watching it. So there are comments where people are, like, trying to look into the background, see if they're seeing anything weird in the background. And, like, so part of it is there's this whole contraption that he's at. He didn't make the contraption. It's just there. And there's the mine shaft right there. And it's covered by, like, kind of like a platform around it. And there's just the hole there. And he puts his camera over the hole. So people are trying to, like, pause when he's in the hole. Like, they're just trying to find anything. And there's just nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
Yeah.
I could see, though, why, like, the girlfriend's theory. I think that makes the most sense.
And him not bringing the camera.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest part.
That too.
That's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when they said the Great Basin Desert part, I was like, oh, Kenzie.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, the connections.
There you go.
But yes, thank you for listening for our 200th episode.
Woo-hoo!
It's so exciting.
The buttons are unplugged or else I would cheer.
They are unplugged because we've been having such the technical issues.
Yeah.
Naturally. But yeah, so thank you for listening. Rate and review us. Let us know. We'll send you a sticker.
Yep.
Thank you for the people who have been emailing us just random thoughts they have.
And the nice
love it.
comments on Spotify. You can leave comments now.
Yes. If you leave us a nice comment,
I respond.
Mackenzie will respond and we'll try to send you a sticker.
I think it'll be really hard to find them because it's from their Spotify account.
Yeah, but if they message us, like email us and say, hey.
Email, yes.
Yeah. Say, hey, I commented. Then that's how we'll do it. But if you don't email us, we can't find you.
Yeah. You gotta do that part because I won't be able to find you.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
So
Mackenzie gave me this look and I was like, what did I say?
like, I can't find them on Spotify.
So I guess that's all we have. So
Yeah.
stay scary.
And stay safe. Times 200.
Times 200.